Peace. So I'm waiting for my youngest queen to get on, Aziza. So I'm just kind of following up one of the recent interviews that I did with my eldest Queen Aziza, talking about her educational career and just careers in general. Um, some useful information, especially for those of you who have children or younger people in your family that may be interested in going to college and some of the things that they need to be considering when it comes to preparing for whatever career path that they choose. So I wanted to bring my youngest queen on, Aziza, and have her build about some of her experiences. Right now, she is a senior at Howard University. Peace, Queen. Peace, God. My eldest is Sia. She graduated from Howard University. She's in graduate school now. So I wanted to share some of her perspective. So just waiting for her to get on now. But I think I'm going to be doing more of these series of interviews with different people that are in my network, including my queens, just to share some of their perspectives in life. I think a lot of times when people view me, sometimes I don't share enough of the various different advisors in my life. My queens, both of them, I've consulted with them in terms of advising me about different decisions and choices in life since they were children, since they were small, because they've always been sharp and intuitive in that kind of way. So, there's a lot of different people like that that are in my life. And I'm thankful to have those type of people because they play a very critical part of my personal growth and development, which also allows me to be a greater resource and point of reference to other people. So I think I'm going to be doing that a little bit more often now, just bringing up different people on my Facebook Live so that those of you can get an opportunity to see how we build with each other, see what that relationship actually looks like. Because a lot of times we talk about knowledge of self or learning or growth and development or enlightenment or education, whatever we want to categorize it as. We're really talking about positive, productive relationships. That's ultimately what it comes down to. You're talking about relationships. And those relationships are an investment, not just personally, but also interpersonally. It allows us to help be stewards to bring about a better world than what we see right now. And, from time to time, I'll bring some of, my network, people that I'm connected to on and give you an opportunity to see how those relationships should be. So when we talk about, that's my brother, peace, God, that's one of my brothers right here. We talk about our brothers. We talk about our sisters. It should look a certain type of way. Those should be healthy relationships. Those being healthy relationships, these are relationships where you should be able to genuinely tell your brothers and sisters that you love them. You know what I mean? A lot of times, some of us just don't know how to do that with one another because we never learned how to forge relationships with each other. And when you don't have relationships, the ability to transmit principles and values becomes disrupted. Those type of relationships, not only do they allow for the transmission of principles and values, but you also learn different qualities that maintain those type of bonds with one another. One being trust and the expectancy and the confidence and the dependency that comes along with that type of trust or bond with one another. A lot of times when you look into our communities, you don't really see a scarcity of money. You see a scarcity of different qualities such as trust. A lot of people get it twisted when they think that paper money is evidence of an economy, when in reality, an economy and its ability to function in an efficient way is based upon the trust that people have for one another. It's really an honor system. Money itself is just a way of quantifying the honor that people systematically practice with one another. Because prior to money even being created, people bartered and traded and distributed equally resources and services with one another. That was the economy. It was about relationships that people forged with one another. And even when you see certain communities and they have what you would consider to be physical wealth or capital, when you look into the relationships that they have for one another, that is the real evidence of the economy. That is the source of the foundation of any economy. And that is one of the reasons that capitalism or crony capitalism is oftentimes described as a parasitic relationship that a society has amongst its members. But think about this. When you look at capitalism, which is based upon the premise of those at the top or the wealthy taking advantage of the weak or those at the bottom, you usually see that in the capacity of different segments of that community. So, for example, you may see people that come into the Black community and have a capitalistic relationship towards the Black community because they don't live there. And it's easy for them to capitalize or for them to take advantage of people that they are not like. But when you go into other communities, you don't see them practicing that same form of capitalism. It's more a form of socialism when it really comes down to it. When you see the way that they interact with each other, they don't have that parasitic relationship. You know what I'm saying? But when you see some communities in proximity to other communities that are not them, you oftentimes see them practicing that sense of capitalism, crony capitalism, to take advantage of those that they don't identify with. And unfortunately, you see some of us that take on the same exact ideology amongst each other and strive to take advantage of and capitalize off of each other. Look at how many liquor stores and churches that you see in a lot of our communities. And I'm not saying that all churches are bad or are parasitic. A lot of them are, though. A lot of them are. A lot of them are not striving to establish a sense of equality within that community and inspire, empower, and educate those community members. You don't see that. That's not something that's consistent. But if you see that same type of house of worship in another community, you may not see them doing that amongst their own membership, amongst their own people. They'll do it to you, though. They have a capitalistic perspective and approach towards you, but they won't do it to each other. How else does money circulate many times within that community as opposed to in our community? What it tells you is there has to be a certain type of relationship and trust and confidence that people have in one another in order for them to maintain that level of economy and that reciprocity. So relationships are very important. They are the foundation of being able to transmit any principles and values. So when a person is saying that they want to learn, they want to gain knowledge of self, they want to become enlightened, this, that, and the third, what they're really saying is, I want a positive and productive relationship with you, and this is what I'm offering. I'm offering this relationship. Some people don't understand that. There's over the years that I've had knowledge of self, I've had thousands of people come to me and say that they want to be taught. They want knowledge of self. They want lessons. And in their mind, they think that they're just asking for an object like this, and I could just hand it to them and there, you got it. Go about your way. And they approach it as if it's something like that. A lot of times they don't even know that they're asking me for a lifelong relationship. That's what they're asking for, and that they should be offering. And they don't know that. And it takes time to really learn that that's what you're essentially asking. When you're talking about growth and development, you're talking about enlightenment, you're talking about a way of life, which encompasses all of your people activities, your diet, your style of dress, your language, recognizing how you communicate, even how you draw up or interpretate things on a sensory level based upon the environment that you go into or that you live in. Every aspect of your existence is a part of your culture. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't realize that they are asking to learn how to redefine their way of life. They don't even realize that. They think that they just asking you for an object. Just give me the mathematics. Just give me the alphabet. Just give me these lessons and I'm going to memorize them. You're asking to be my brother for life. You're asking to be my sister for life. And it's important to understand that. I mean, everybody has their approach towards growth and development. Everybody has their approach towards striving to resolve situations and, problem solve. As the 5%, we have our own approach. We strive to rebuild our relationships one person at a time. So brothers and sisters that I got knowledge of self with 23 years ago, they are still my brothers and sisters. They're going to be my family until I physically go back to essence or until I die. We don't play with this, but that is our approach towards growth and development. That is what we do in order to strive to make this world a better place. But it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. And if people are not invested in that, then there's going to be a disruption, or their development is going to be arrested because they're not going to have an opportunity to transmit principles and values to each other and learn together because there's no relationship. When you have a relationship with somebody and you walk with them, there are things that you learn in real time that you wouldn't learn just looking in a book or watching in a documentary. That documentary has a certain time limit on it. This book has spaces in between the lines. It's one-dimensional. So there's certain things in life that are going to be left out simply relying on literature or simply relying on something that's audio-visual. You have to walk with people. When I say walk with people and develop a relationship with them, I'm not talking about taking a tourist approach to this person's way of life or their culture, where you have this very generic topical experience of what it is that they do, how some people do things. They go on vacation somewhere and don't even interact with the locals and think that they've been to that place. There's a difference between the map and the terrain. I'm talking about the terrain. I'm talking about the relationships that you establish in real time with one another. It's really an anthropological approach towards learning about that culture. So whenever you're looking at different type of documentaries and there are certain people who are subject matter experts about various different tribes or cultures that are anthropologists, these people immerse themselves in that culture. They're not English people that go to a different culture and set up a table and chairs in the middle of the village and have tea time. To drink an English tea in the middle of they village and shit like that. You have some people that do stuff like that, but they're still disconnected. There are still things that they're not going to learn simply because they are not immersed in that culture. They're not taking an anthropological view or approach towards learning about that culture. They're not developing an authentic relationship with the people that they are studying. They're not living amongst them. That is the only true way that you essentially learn something. But you have a lot of people who are not willing to put themselves in that kind of position in order to learn. Peace, God. So, yeah. So, that's one of the reasons why I said I wanted to start doing more consistent Facebook Lives, just sharing some of the relationships that I have with different people that are my advisors, are my scientists in my life, that give me advice, that give me consultation, that give me insight into various different things. All of us have different people in our life that are masters of their particular domain that we should be able to reference when it comes to gaining some insight and understanding in what that particular domain is. And on more of a consistent basis, I'm going to share some of those people with all of you, so that you can get more of a perspective and context of why I am capable of doing a lot of things that I do. One thing that I would say that I'm good at, out of anything that you see me do, I don't care if it's the animation videos that I do, if I'm doing just straight vlogs or videos about various different subjects that I've studied, or writing books or articles or doing a radio, out of all of the different things that I do, what I am great at is being a student. All of my life, I've always had the proper attitude when it came to learning something. It's never been an issue for me to humble myself and to learn what somebody teaches me. Sometimes we may learn things in life where we get to the point where we feel like we don't need to learn nothing else and nobody can't tell us nothing. I've never had that kind of perspective, But I would tell you this, one of my pet peeves is to come in contact with people that try to act like they know something that they damn sure don't. Because I'm a humble person in that sense, where I don't play a game of Jeopardy with people. I mean, people can get a sense that I study the things before I speak on the things that they're striving to understand. People could get a sense of that I'm that type of person. But I don't put myself in a position where I'm playing Jeopardy with people and, like I'm a living almanac where I have to be the know-it-all and answer all of the questions. Most of the time I ain't really saying nothing. I'm just sitting back listening, But I don't like when some people talk about something and they damn sure don't know what they're talking about, but they strive to act like they are. And it's unfortunate when you have other people who are following people who are misleading the masses like that. That is what I don't like that at all. And whenever I see it, I strive to slay that. I strive to slay it as soon as I see it. Because these are people who represent who we call the 10%. They are the rich slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies to believe some more other stuff, instead of striving to help inspire, empower, and educate others so that there's a sense of equality or equity when it comes to this society. You know what I mean? And once you know the truth and you've embraced the essence of who you essentially are when it comes to your infinite potential, you are charged with the responsibility of educating and inspiring and empowering other people who are open to the idea of recognizing their own infinite potential and doing something about where they're at in life right now. So it's not no missionary type thing. You just make yourself accessible and available to people so that if they want to grow and develop, it's right there. So, I see my queen on right now. I'm about to bring her in to see what's good. Okay. Okay. Just adding her.
I didn't know you
What
started.
up? What up?
Nothing. I usually
Word?
get a
What you was doing?
notification when you get on live. I'm just sitting in bed.
Oh, word. Yeah, I was just on here running my mouth a little bit.
Nothing new.
Nah, I don't be talking like that. Yo. So yeah, yo, so I just wanted to build with you. I had a Sia on maybe like a couple of days ago,
Yeah, I saw.
and we was building a little bit about like her educational career, her process and all of that, as
Mhm.
well as just her career choices. Kind of give some insight into like some of the younger generation that find themselves at that particular part of their growth and development where they may want to choose to go to college or they may want to choose to a certain type of career. So, we talked about that with Asia. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that more with yourself. So you're a senior now at Howard,
Yeah.
right? Now, looking back at your freshman year, what's some things that you wish you knew as a freshman that you know now as a senior, just
Um.
about the college experience?
um what- I wish I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Like I had an idea that I wanted to go into industry and like create medicines and stuff like that, but I wish I knew like a more like specific branch of what I wanted to go to, because in this entire time I would have been using my career geared towards that instead of just taking like chemistry courses. I would have been picking more specialized courses that I would need for the future. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I wish I knew more about um, like the pharmacy program at Howard, because I would have joined that
Hmm.
earlier and I would have probably been more set with that. That's pretty much it. Just wish I
Mm.
knew what I wish I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Like was more
Mm.
definite with it.
So how would you know? Is that like the role of an advisor, or is it just on you to kind of try to figure stuff out?
I mean, we have advisors, but they're not really like there to like tell you what to do in life. It's more you learn more from like experience. So I didn't really learn what I really wanted to do until doing internships every summer. So like this summer really set me
Okay.
on going into industry, because we went to visit some company called Amgen, which they design like, well, they like part of it designs like medicines and other people like synthesize them, and it was just something that I really wanted to do. It was really interesting, but I wouldn't have found that out until I actually did research and stuff
Y-
there.
Yeah. So your degree, what is your degree gonna be in when you graduate?
I have a BS in chemistry, or I would get a BS in chemistry,
So basically, you're a cute scientist.
I guess.
Yo, so when you went on your internship last summer to South Africa, like talk a little bit about that. Like how was that? And
um,
what were you doing when you were actually there?
I was working on anti-cancer drugs. I was doing a lot of crystallization, but crystallization takes a really long time. It can take like years to for something to crystallize, depending on what it's composed of. It was pretty interesting. I wish I did a lot more like visiting around South Africa and stuff, because it was the first time I was abroad by myself. I had like team members, but I didn't have any family with me, and it was just a good experience because um, it made me want to go back. So today I met with a lady who gave me some fellowships that allows me to go overseas for a year and do volunteer work for like if I decide to do a gap year between my undergrad and going to grad school. So that definitely
Word. You said she gave you some what?
some fellowships that I can apply to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And so if you were to go like abroad or whatever, they pay you to go abroad and to
yeah,
study and all of that other stuff?
yeah. To do like volunteer work, or I can get a fellowship and do research for a year in another country. So I'll probably do that just because I liked being overseas. It was nice. I didn't have the best experience being in South Africa, but the the whole overall aspect of me going overseas and doing lab work somewhere else where everything was different was pretty interesting to me.
Word. Yo, so your most recent internship, you was at UCLA in the summer.
Yeah.
How was that different than what you were doing in South Africa?
I learned a lot more at UCLA. I learned a lot more at UCLA than I have in my 4 years of just being in lab at Howard, honestly. It was
Really?
Yeah, because at Howard for our lab classes, it's just like a standard lab. It's nothing really difficult. You're not really getting results like that. But when I was in LA, it was kind of like I was constantly doing stuff and I was getting real results that could be published in the paper eventually. And it was the hours was a lot longer when I was in LA. I would just go in and do what I need to do, and I would usually finish in like 2 hours, and then I would just spend the rest of the day like watching like Netflix or something like that. But when I was in LA, I was like constantly doing work. I never really had downtime, and I was in the lab from like 10 o'clock to like 8 o'clock some days, or 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock some days. So it was kind of like an actual experience of what it would be when I actually go to grad school and get my PhD. It taught me a lot more.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Yo, so what did that like visually, what did that look like? You get up in the morning, you go into a laboratory. Like, what kind of stuff is you doing in the laboratory? Like, you looking through microscopes and stuff, you pouring substances and beakers and testing stuff. I mean, what did that look like?
I didn't use any microscopes. Um, yeah, that's usually for more like biology type of things. I would just wake up in the
Oh,
morning. I didn't really have a set time to go into lab. Everything was pretty like chill for the most.
okay.
Part.
My bad. I don't know what happened. My phone just cut off. But so the last thing that we was building about is what did your day actually look like going into the lab? What were some of the things that you were actually doing?
Okay, so I don't know how much you heard, so I'm just gonna start over. I go into the lab. It was kind of like whenever I wanted to go into the lab. I usually came in at like 10 o'clock, and then I would check my reactions from the day before to see if they worked. And like you check reactions with like a TLC plate and stuff just to see what components are in it to see if the reaction finished, if the starting material is still in there, or just stuff like that. And then I'll just move on to the next step. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would just always go in and just run a lot of reactions, test them with NMR. Ask people for advice if they have like something that they can give me. It was a lot of meetings I had, a lot of papers that I
Mm-hmm.
read, and then during my downtime, I was either working on like my abstract or paper, or working on presentations, or going to workshops and stuff like that. So it's pretty much it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
would just leave.
So so if a person wanted to go into that field of like chemistry, what subjects should they be strong in? You know what I mean?
Um, Chemistry. That's pretty much it. Cause like we do math, but the math that we do is pretty basic, so you don't really have to be too strong in math. Biology doesn't really, depending on what type of chemistry you're going to. The chemistry that I'm doing, I don't really use biology like that. I use more organic chemistry. So like you would have to be
Uh-huh.
good in like organic chemistry. But a lot of the times with you doing things like being hands on, you learn a lot compared to like depending on like
Mm,
compared to like being in a class setting where you're just taking tests and stuff. I learned a lot more
uh-huh.
from just being present and actually doing the work than just taking the test.
Word.
Yeah.
So now I wanted to kind of uh, shift gears a little bit and talk about like your modeling and all of that. Like,
Okay.
you've been in New York Fashion Week, you've been in Philly Fashion Week, you've done the modeling in Atlantic City, various different other places.
Yeah.
How has it been like meeting guys and they see what you look like, they know that you're a model,
Hmm.
but then when they find out that you're a scientist at the same time, what has been like their response?
They're intimidated. That's pretty much it.
What you mean they be intimidated? Intimidated.
um, I don't know. Like a lot of guys, they're just intimidated by me. Most of them are intimidated because of my height, and then a lot of them intimidated because of me modeling. They feel like there's like a lot of people that like come and step to me and stuff like that, and they have like a lot of competition or whatever. And then when they find out that I'm in chemistry, like I'm a chemist, then they're even more intimidated because I'm not stupid. Like I'm intelligent. I can hold an intelligent conversation. And a lot of guys probably can't handle that, or they'll feel like they're not gonna be able to like be on the same level as me or something like that. So yeah, they're usually intimidated, or they usually get annoyed because I'm a lot of my time is spent during schoolwork, or working in the lab at the pharmacy school at Howard. That's pretty much it.
uh, yeah. So in terms of like being involved in modeling, if there was like a young girl that wanted to go into modeling,
Hmm.
what's some advice that you would give them based upon some of your experiences?
Do a lot of research for sure. Look at the agencies that you want to apply to. Um, Definitely make sure you get your headshots, and then realize that like this is like a full commitment. It's not something that like you just do on the weekends and stuff like that. Like castings and stuff go all week. You have to be prepared for sure because castings will go all day. Like when I was at did New York Fashion Week, I went to the casting at like 7 a.m. I didn't finish until like 5, and then it made me come back at 7 to do fittings, and then I had the show the next day, and I had to be there at 8 a.m. the next day. So it's like it's a lot of time that goes into it, and don't just do it because you're just trying to be famous and stuff like that, because that's just not the right way to go, because you're going to be waiting around for a very long time waiting to become famous. It's something that you actually have to like to do, and something that you really have to be invested in.
Word.
Yeah.
Yo, is there things that they should watch out for in terms of like people that may strive to take advantage of them, or like janky contracts, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like getting you to sign with certain companies and
Yeah. Definitely. A lot of photographers will try to get you to shoot nude, and um, a lot of photographers will try to like take advantage of you and try to get you to shoot nude, and the concerts that they have are not really artistic or anything. It's just a chance for them to see women naked. So definitely, like any photographer that ever hits you up, definitely interview them. If they have like an Instagram page, like usually what I'll do is I'll DM the models and be like, hey, like, did you feel comfortable when you shot with him, or like, how was he and stuff like that? Was there anything off before I even go to a photo shoot? With agencies, definitely Google them to see if they're reputable or not. You can usually get a lot of like reviews on like if the agency did something for someone or if they didn't, and then definitely be be sure of like what you're signing for, because the first contract that I had got, they wanted to sign me for 2 years, and they said that I couldn't go to college, and then my mom just walked me out of the office. So a lot of times you have to
whoa.
you're what you're doing, because they will, with agencies, when you sign for an agency you can't turn down jobs because they make money every time you book a job, so they'll book you for multiple jobs, and if you turn down jobs usually you have to pay them back for the money that they lost. So definitely just be prepared about that, because they will sign you up for a lot of things, and once you are over 18 then they do sign you for more like nudity things and stuff like that. So definitely
Oh
just
wow.
check on the photographers that you work with by talking to other models or looking at their other work and stuff. And if you feel like their pictures aren't good and you don't want to see yourself in pictures like that, or you feel like they have like they could do better, you can always decline. Like I've declined shoots all the time. I just declined a swimsuit shoot because I didn't want to do it. So
Mm,
because I just didn't really care for the photographer. So you know, you always
mm.
have to pick your battles and just be safe whenever you go to photo shoots and stuff. Always have someone with you, or send your location if you can't have someone to go with you.
Wow. That's crazy, you know? It's like you think about the type of culture and climate that these type of professions exist in, that you gotta create all of those different mechanisms of safeguards from people that are predatory.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, um, so in terms of like your peers that you're in college with,
Hmm.
um, how has that been a support system or something that's an asset in comparison to not having that type of network of peers that you go to school with?
Um, I guess for like my friends really push me, because all the friends that I have, usually they're in like STEM fields. So I'm really cool with all the chemists that's at Howard, which isn't that many, and most of them are girls. So like we all hang out and stuff like that. So that's pretty nice because they push me to do better. And then also my sorority, since it's all about engineering or mathematics or architect or chemistry, um,
Mm,
they're definitely there to help you. Like I talk to my special a lot and ask for advice and stuff like that. So I definitely don't feel lonely, because it is very easy to feel lonely on this campus, especially if you're going to just little things like going to the CAF and stuff like that. Like it gets lonely. So my peers definitely are there for me a lot. Like even if it's like pep talks or just hanging out if I'm like lonely or something like that.
mm, mm. Now, when before you even began college, like I still got that picture of you, like when you was
Uh,
probably about Bill years old or something.
with
You
the
got the
Howard shirt.
Howard shirt on. Yeah, yo. So before you went to Howard,
Yeah.
Did you already have a determined idea that you wanted to go into chemistry, or did you have other ideas, or
I
how did
always knew
that
I
come
wanted to go
about?
to chemistry. Like that was the only class that I was really, when I was at Hallahan, those was the only class I was really good in, was for the most part. I mean, I was good in all my classes. I did really well in high school, but the class that interested me the most was chemistry, and then the second one was physics. So I knew that I was either going to do chemistry or physics.
Mm,
Yeah.
word, yo. So in terms of getting a degree in chemistry, what are some of the various different career paths that you can take with having a chemistry degree?
It's a lot of things that you can do. You can do like R&D, which is research and design. You can become a teacher. You can work at like power plants. You can become like a chemical engineer. You can work at a cosmetic company creating makeups. You can work at like FDA. You can do creating food and stuff like that. A lot of beauty products,
Mm,
creating medicines. There's a job where you just go out into the like go out, go overseas and like go into rainforest and like find like plants and stuff and try to find the medicinal properties. So you can do that with chemistry. Chemistry has a lot.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what specifically do you want to do?
I want to actually be in the lab synthesizing the drugs. And then for a
Mm,
side job, I'll probably start my own company creating like makeups and just becoming a cosmetic chemist. And then dream jobs would be like Johnson and Johnson or Revlon or L'Oreal.
mm.
Yeah.
Where now, and you talking about products for Black people in
Uh-huh.
particular?
Yeah, I wanted to make like an organic makeup line for just different shades of brown.
Mm, and is there's already some that's out there like that though, right?
Yeah, you can always have more.
Then what would it be different? Yeah, would it be different about yours? Would it be specifically organic or something, or
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure there's probably like organic ones out there now, but I don't know. I just know that I've always wanted to create makeup, and it's like I'll just do it. Even if it doesn't sell or anything like that, I just still want to be able to do it. Even if I just take like a few classes on it to know how to do it. It's just always been something that I was like, oh, this seems really interesting. And I've always been like artistic
yeah,
about always like creating things, so it just works out.
yeah, true. Yo, so just being in school and stuff, what has been like some of your biggest challenges?
Balancing a lot, like, cause when I get into school, I really get into school and I don't really make time for anything else. And like, I know it's like I'm not really good at reaching out to people back at home. Like I don't call Nana and stuff like that. But I just be really busy with school a lot and I get wrapped up in classwork. So I know
Mm,
like that's my biggest fault at Howard and my biggest challenge is not even like the classes or like the difficulty of the classes. It's just balancing and managing my time better. Because when I'm in school, it's really always about school. I don't really answer my phone. I don't answer text messages and stuff like that. Like I'll be on Twitter sometimes and stuff like that, like when I'm walking to classes and stuff. But
sometimes,
yeah, sometimes I don't even be on it that much anymore.
yo, yo, you be on Twitter like
I do not.
Funkmaster Flex.
I do not.
Yo,
I don't be on
you
there
be
that much.
robo tweeting.
I do not be
I'll
on
be
there
like,
that much. I
damn,
do
she be
like two
tweeting like
tweets a
every two
day. I
minutes.
mean, 2 tweets. Yeah, 2 tweets a day. But I'm really bad at like
What?
I do only do like 2 tweets a day. I don't really be on there that much. I don't be having time. I'm just really bad at. My biggest problem is really just managing because I don't be calling any family back at home, and I be making
Yeah,
reminders to call them, and I don't. I don't check up on my friends and stuff like that because I be busy with school. But they understand. Like they understand that I get busy with
yeah,
school, and we'll like text each other here and there.
yo,
But that's it.
yo, me and you the same in that sense, because I mean, I strive to reach out when I can. I build with you and Asia, but I'm like the same way. I just
Yeah.
be sometimes I be so invested in the stuff that I'm doing, I just really
Yeah.
don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've started to incorporate is just texting people every now and then. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And then knowing when I do have a certain amount of time, like if I'm building with you or Sia, I know that I have to have a block of time to communicate with y'all because it ain't like we be having like 5-minute conversations or something.
Yeah. We
You
talking
know what I
for like
mean?
an hour.
So yeah, yeah, I really have to appropriate my time when it comes to, just building with those that's close to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I'm
Yeah.
I'm the exact same. Yeah. I don't know what happened again,
Your service is
but
bad. You need to get some better Wi-Fi.
wow. So at school right now, you doing an internship at the same time
Yeah.
that you're, going to classes?
Yeah, I'm still doing research on Ebola right now.
Okay,
Ebola virus.
okay, yeah. So in terms of like your future plans, once you graduate at the end of this year,
Mm.
what are your next steps?
Right now I'm juggling between two things. Well, I got the offer for the free school for 10 years. So that's definitely like up there. And then
Wait. What you mean you got the free thing, school for 10 years?
for uh the summer internship I did, so they offered me 10 free years at any UC campus, so I have 10 schools to pick from and I get 10 years free there. So that's my top. So I'm going to go get my PhD in medicinal chemistry, but I'm not sure if I want to go straight into grad school or if I want to take a gap year and do volunteering like in Africa. So I'm debating those
Word.
two things right
You still gonna be doing modeling at the same time?
now. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll go to some castings in Africa.
Word. Yo, so in terms of like the free schooling for 10 years,
Yeah.
do you have to go to school for 10 years or
Mm-mm.
can you have all that time to do what you want?
Yeah. I have all that time to do what I want up to 10 years. So I'm only going to use 5 because, well, I'm trying to get out of I'm going to try to get my PhD done in 4 years. But yeah, 5 at the most.
Word. Yo, so why would they offer you that?
Oh, that's what it is to get into the program. Like to get into the program that I got into is a really hard program. A lot of people apply, and there was only 6 of us that got accepted, and I was one of them. So that's like one of the things that you get for getting into the program. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
take advantage of it. Get free school,
Mm-hmm.
not have to pay for anything. And yeah.
Yeah. So going back to when you were in high school,
Hmm.
what were some of the things that you did to prepare for college?
Um, I was in YIS with Dr. Pierce also. That helped me a lot. Talking to the college students. PFL also helped because it was like a summer course. It was like a summer camp, but like it was based on like a college campus. So I got a feel for like how college life would be. And then yeah, just really talking to people who was already in college because a lot of my friends were already older than me. So yeah, it's pretty much it. So it was just like YIS and talking to like having mentors and stuff like that, and then just visiting schools also.
Hmm. At what age? What grade were you in when you started to do some of that stuff?
I was in YIS from like since like the 5th grade. I was in 5th grade to
Mm,
12th grade, I think.
yes.
Yeah,
So you're saying like all of from fifth grade, you were orientated around what you were planning to do.
yeah,
Mm,
for sure.
yeah. Now, did you come in contact with maybe once you got to high school, some of your peers that didn't have those type of opportunities
Yeah,
in terms of being exposed to what it is that they wanted to do?
yeah. Majority of them, a lot of people didn't really know what they wanted to do. A lot of them didn't even
Uh-huh,
like think about going to college and stuff. But college was never really an option for me. Like
uh-huh.
it just never really been an option. It was like you're going to college. So I had a lot of people who didn't really know what they were doing and didn't really have that foundation that I had to set them up to go to college. So like a lot of my friends aren't really in school. They're just kind of chilling, having a job and stuff.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
yeah. So like thinking back on just your life journey, right?
yeah.
What would you what would you tell another young black woman um, that's just starting high school, aside from like going to college, a career, or anything?
Hmm.
What are some of the things that you would tell a young black woman are 3 things that's important when it comes to just who they are? What's important? What would you share with them?
3 things. The first thing would definitely be secure in yourself because there's a lot of times where I felt like I couldn't do it. Like my principal was telling me that I was supposed to be a basketball player and stuff, and I wanted to sign up for a computer gaming class. And I just kind of like took it to heart, like, oh, maybe I'm only supposed to be like, you know, like an athlete and stuff. So definitely be secure in yourself. That's number one, because being Black and being like, for me, being a Black woman in STEM is really hard, because people either take me knowing things as me being like a know-it-all, or like me being aggressive, or just me being incompetent, basically, or, you know, just not listening to me, even though we could have came from the same background, went to the same school, got the same degree. So number one would definitely be confident or be secure in yourself. Two would be, I would say that would be kind of like the same thing, like know who you are. Try new things for sure, because I definitely jumped around a lot. I was like the captain of the robotics team when I was in high school, and I'm doing chemistry now. But I did it because I knew that I'd be interested in it. I also tried to sign up for a computer gaming class, so that was also pretty interesting. So definitely jump around, because you're never going to really know what you want to do if you don't see other things around the world, you know? Like, you can't really expect me to only be interested in one thing if I haven't seen what else is out there. So definitely jump around a lot and use those 4 years to, I mean, figure out who you are and find yourself. And then the last thing would be have fun. I feel like in high school, I was really stressed all the time for no reason. And then I get to college and understand what I'm really supposed to be stressed about. But high school, I wasn't really that stressed. And I wish I did a lot more. I wish I like traveled a lot more or hung out with my friends a lot more. But I was always like making sure I was studying or playing sports or like SAT prep and stuff like that. And I wish I just studied more, or not studied more, like had more fun. And then another advice, do not take AP classes. Definitely do dual enrollment, because AP classes do nothing for you in college.
You said what?
AP classes. I took AP classes, but they don't do anything for you in college. You definitely get a lot more if you do dual enrollment. You get more credits. You have your associate's degree. Yeah, it's a lot better.
Wow. Now, why did you choose a HBCU, a historically Black college and university? Because you could have went to any other schools. Like, why did you want to go to this place like Howard?
I always knew I wanted to be at the HBCU, especially because around the time when I was looking at colleges, it was when like Mike Brown was like popular and police brutality and stuff like that. And I knew that I was just like, yeah, I'm not trying to be around anybody that's not like me. And the way that everything was going, I was a little bit scared of just being in college and not really being protected. And I didn't want to feel like I was uncomfortable on my campus. And I just kind of wanted to be surrounded by just Black excellence for real. Like, yeah, because some of the people in my high school, they were pretty racist and they would make comments and stuff like that. And I knew that I didn't want to deal with that when I got to college. And I knew that I wasn't going to tolerate it at all. Yeah, knowing me, I definitely wasn't going to tolerate it at all. And I know college is a different game than high school. If you do something in college, that's like the police comes, but in high school, it's like in-school suspension or something like that. Yeah, it was really just because I just wanted to feel comfortable in my environment, especially with everything that was going on with the police brutality and stuff like that. I just didn't really feel comfortable being at the PWI. Also didn't want to feel like I was alone or left out, and I didn't want to have to deal with possible racism. But I always had, it was always HBCUs, either Spelman, University of Virgin Islands, or Howard University.
So has the historically Black college and university lived up to that expectation? Are you enjoying your experience there?
Definitely. I love it here. I really missed it when I went to LA and it was only like 5 Black people that I saw. I really miss being at Howard. It's definitely Black excellence. The classes that we take here are really good. African American studies is required, and then just the fact that swimming is required because not a lot of Black people know how to swim is also pretty nice. So I also met a lot more people and learned a lot more, because I didn't really know a lot about like the African diaspora. Like just because I'm not really around a lot of Africans where I was at. So now all my friends are like pretty much Nigerian, or, you know, yeah, most of them are Nigerian. So it's like, it's pretty interesting because I get to learn about their culture, because I didn't even know about like the food that they eat or the music that they listen to and stuff like that. So it's definitely lived up, because we do have incidents here where we'll have like threats and stuff like that, especially because we're so close to the White House, or Trump supporters coming in and trying to like, interrogate us, like, try to like, scare us and stuff like that. But for the most part, I feel safe. I like not
Mm,
feeling alone. There's always someone there to like understand what you're going through and stuff like that. So definitely made a good choice.
mm, mm. So has the climate in at the university changed since uh, Obama was in the office as opposed to the transition where now you have Trump in office?
Um, Not really. I feel like Howard students are still going as hard for whatever they believe in. I know like when Trump did get elected, we did have a watch party in one of the bigger cafeterias, and when they announced that he was the next president, like the entire room got quiet and all you could hear was like tears and crying and stuff like that. But I kind of like feel like we use that as like something to drive us and to basically like protect our university. But I feel like the same things, like we really haven't changed much. If anything, we're probably stronger, and we definitely protect our university a lot more, because there are times where there are Trump supporters that come to our cafeteria and wear like their MAGA hats and stuff just to try to get a reaction out of us students. Or I remember one time someone said that like the KKK was like on the yard, and they were like threatening students and stuff like that. But I feel like for the most part, we just protect our university a lot more, and that's pretty much it. We still have the same pride and everything like that, but we just protect our university a lot more.
Mm, mm. So what are some of the things that you would encourage younger people to do in regards to planning for college?
Definitely look at all the schools, like do like research on all the schools that you go to. If you can find a student that goes there, definitely go talk to them and visit the campus, because even though like what they sell you is different, if they may have like some black people and stuff on the pamphlet, and if it say that if you are a type of person that like wants to be at a school where you're not a minority and stuff like that, it's like they may have a black person on the pamphlet, but when you actually go to the campus, like who do you see and stuff like that, see what the retention rate is for students of color and stuff like that. Do they come back the next year and stuff like that? Definitely just try to talk to people, because for me it was kind of like for grad school, the questions that I'm going to ask is like the retention rate for like African American students. And then I was talking to some undergrad students that went to UCLA, like how do you feel on campus, like do you feel comfortable, like do you feel like you're being left out, how was it in your lab, do you feel like you're not being listened to because of your color, do you feel like you're just being taken as a joke and stuff like that. So when you go to colleges, definitely do research on the faculty, the campus life, around the campus, because you definitely don't want to be, if you feel like, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to be in a dangerous area, make sure you go to a campus that's like maybe closed. The stuff that they have on campus, amenities and stuff like that, clubs that you can join, just basically things that will make your experience better. And then also classes for sure, because you don't want to go to a school where you're not really being challenged, or your degree was kind of like a piece of cake to get, because there's no point in that.
True, that's peace. Yeah, so you shared a lot of information. I want to thank you for taking the time to come on, and just share some of your experience with my audience. And somewhere down the line, I definitely want to bring you back on
Yeah,
and just discuss some other different things as well. If you're open to it.
I'm down.
You know, I know you'd be as busy as I'll be. So we'll
Making it work.
connect.
Making it work.
Yeah. So I'm real proud of you.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you for sharing some of your experience, and we'll build again soon.
All right.
Okay. Peace.
Love you.
Love you too.
Peace.
Peace.